There are so many things I want to talk about today, and I don't know which one that I would talk. Years ago, when I became interested in Buddhism, one thing intrigued me about is that the emptiness. So I try to find every source that I can and study from that. And I came across a YouTube document from Tibet. I don't know if you have heard the sky burial. Sky burial. You have heard of that? Have you seen that?
I've seen pictures of it. They bury somebody in a tower and then the birds come by and eat the body.
In Tibet, because of the very harsh climate, so they don't have wood to burn the body, and the ground is so hard to dig. And with the compassion of making this body the last benefit to the beings. So from there the sky burial becomes. What they do is that there are a group of special people they bring the corpse to the special site, and from there people cut, disembody the corpse into parts, and they gave it to the vultures. When I first looked at that document, I couldn't eat for days. It was an old document. I don't think that because the group saw it, so I think they took it down. Well, now you still can see, but it's not actual scene, doing it. And then a couple of years ago, my uncle died. I personally scattered his ash. And the question was that, where is the self? My uncle used to live for 90 years. And all of those years, lots of things happened, bad and good. And of course, he made a bad decision and made a good decision, but overall, at the very end, the remain is about 5 pounds of ashes, and that's it. Where is he now? So last week that we talked a little bit about emptiness. So perhaps we go into it, the nature of emptiness a little bit more, so we can understand a little bit deeply. It's all coming out from the conditional arising. Conditional arising. Everything. You look around, what you see, or anything through the 5 sense doors, it is all conditional arising. This body here is a collection of parts. You know, looking outside you don't see much, but looking inside, you have a liver, intestine, lungs, stomach, spleens, and you got blood, you get tendon, you get bones, marrows, and all of that. And then we look down to the molecular level, that we see that the old molecules collecting, stacking together and become a mass, and the mass become parts. So that's one kind of emptiness. There's nothing there. And then we can see that this microphone it is a collection of materials and the craftsman and intelligence, everything put together become a microphone. So it's a conditional arising. Listen to my voice right now. It's a conditional arising too, because of the sound projected from my mouth, and then the ear that you receive from the sound, and then it decodes into the intelligence, communication, and then you understand what I was talking about. So it's a conditional arising. Marcus, Daniel, or Bodhicitta. It's just the name that our parents gave us. And then Social Security registered the name, so you become Marcus, you become Daniel, you become Bodhicitta. Actually, there's no such a thing as Marcus, Daniel, or Bodhicitta at all. We look at outside, we see the bright stars in the sky at night, and then we draw dots with those bright stars, and we call it a constellation. Is that such a constellation? So it's just a concept. Everything is a concept. And we don't see that. Such a thing I've been trying to explain. Actually, it's not in depth yet. The in-depth is that what we experience now is the conditional arising from three parts. There are three parts in order to constitute this arising. First, there has to be a consciousness. Secondly, there has to be the mind. And thirdly, there has to be this body. The consciousness is already present, but without object. The consciousness cannot be there. And here the object we're talking about is the mind. But the consciousness and the mind is not enough yet. There has to be the body. The body is acting as an agent in order for the consciousness and the mind together rise and we experience. Think about it. And when we say that, it's all empty. Don't be mistaken that emptiness is for the annihilation because of it's very dangerous, very, very dangerous to be nothing, and then from there we can do anything we wanted to. This body has its own right, as well as the nose has its own right. The right that is different than this body or this microphone. They are two different entities. And another right is that we have to discern what is right and wrong. In that case, we can become a complete being because of if we're mistaken, oh, it's nothing, and then we can do some daredevil act, and we don't want to do that. And if we are actually see emptiness as selflessness, then we can refrain from lots of wrongdoing. I grew up with my we are about a couple of years apart, but we're kind of close together. When I came here, he was still a little kid, but I came back there, saw him. He became a very, rather kind of rich and quite a man in society. Here, I became a monk. Over there, he used to be a CEO of a big company, and then he became a vice CEO of a bigger company. About 2 o'clock today, I received a phone call from my brother saying that my cousin, he was in big trouble with the government because of the fraudulent hundreds of millions of dollars. So now he's in jail waiting for the trial. The last time that I've seen him, I saw him, I admire him because of he gave talks to the young people how to make rich, such and such, such and such. So I admire him a lot. But having heard what he is right now, I thought of myself, I'm much better than him. And I thought that the condition he used to have before, he wouldn't have to do anything wrongfulness at all in order to be in this kind of situation. We've talked a little bit about, spirituality, such and such, such and such. I thought that he knew because of through talking. I thought that he would know, he would have some kind of spiritual input. But as far as I can see right now is that study spirituality requires wisdom, and wisdom of emptiness. It's not that, it's all empty and then do whatever you want to do. That's not like that. It's all empty and do all the right things. It's not whatever you wanted to do. Just do the right thing. Then you come to the true emptiness, true selflessness. Instead of just a label, it's all empty, and then you make a wrong turn. And now, I'm sure that sitting in jail, he's going to rethink of what he did. we have to take the emptiness in a righteous way. From there, happiness comes. Happiness comes from emptiness. Understand the true emptiness with wisdom. Of course, that if we look deep down into the matter, emptiness is just a concept too, because of everything as ease. When you straighten your fingers, we call it a hand. But when you curve all the fingers, we call it a fist. So where's the hand, where's the fist? It's all empty. But when you call a hand or you call a fist, it's a concept. So look at it. It's a concept. The thing is that once we understand it, we take it as it is, such or suchness. And from that calmness, happiness arise. I have a half an hour exquisite meditation. It's so nice, calm, and to tell me that to sell that for $2 million. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Of course I can, because I cannot transfer that calmness to others in order to exchange for $2 million. So anyway, we all aged now, and we value, and we know what's the most value to us right now. Instead of money, fame, or such and such materials, we would rather have kind of calmness, happiness. Try to contemplate, every day we just take a few minutes to contemplate. What are we? What is it? This body. What is it? The mind. What is it? The consciousness. And that contemplation will bring you down. We will dissect everything out, and then we can see that everything is conditional arising. And we can find that happiness. I don't say it just for saying it, but actually it is. That's why that you can see that monks, They stay in the temple doing nothing. They don't even walk out of the door. They just stay within the compound because of we can sense that. We can actually feel that, and that's why we don't have to walk out. I see that in a week, I rarely walk out of the door. And here, we don't do anything. But maybe because of we value the happiness, the calmness, and we try to be with it. And that's why we don't need anything out there. In the morning, a little bit of breakfast. In the noontime, lunch, and it seems to be like that. And that's it. All day, all week, all month. Sounds like boring, huh? But no. You don't have to be a monk because of emptiness is already there. It's just waiting for you to open it out, to find it out. And then wherever you are, you can experience the happiness, the calmness. Trust me on this one. You don't have to become anything. Just be as you are. Where you are is fine. Just looking into the nature of this body, the mind, the consciousness. Then we can find it. Anything you can share with?
Just a few years ago, I had plenty of time. So I conducted this 40-day experiment. The number 40 has, traditional references, biblical references, and also maybe neuro-linguistic programming, whatever. It takes 40 days to change your mind. It was an experiment where I meditated 4 hours a day, because at the time the monks here were meditating 4 hours a day. I did 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, or the remaining 2 hours throughout the day for 40 days to see what would happen. Nothing happened. I didn't develop any cities, no magical powers, no supernatural energy. However, I realized I liked it. And I enjoyed it. And if I had the money, if I won the lottery, I would have done it every day for the rest of my life. Just sitting at home doing that until I died. I enjoyed it. That's all it was. And then I stopped because the new season of Flash came on and I started watching more TV, more Netflix. And I got it down to 2 hours a day, and then now I'm just down to 1 hour a day.
Well, it's still good. It's still good, but like I said, that when we don't know, then we sit a lot. But once we know, we ease ourselves. We don't have to, but just because of we are aware. We're aware of everything, and that is meditation. You don't have to sit for 4 hours a day, as long as you're aware of everything. Let's say that from the time you wake up, you do your personal hygiene, you're aware. You cook, you prepare your breakfast, you're aware. You eat your breakfast, you're aware. Driving to work, you're aware. At work, you're aware of what you're doing. Break, you're aware. lunch, you're aware. Noontime, more work, you're aware. And then when work's finished, you come home, driving home, you're aware. And then having dinner, you're aware. Relax, watching TV, you're aware. Go to bed, you're aware. So, is there anything else besides that? Aware and the activities of awareness. I said there's only two things. And that is meditation. That is meditation. You don't have to do anything else. Just be aware, be aware, be aware, be aware. And from that, it's gonna break you down. It's gonna break you down into the final level of understanding. At first, you're mindful of everything, but in that mindfulness, there is the self, there is the I that, oh, I am mindful of this, of that, blah, 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 blah. But then as you go, you gain more experience, you go deeper, spiritual, and you experience the selflessness. It's just the dance of nature, of this mind, of this body, of the consciousness. And from there you gain deep understanding and selflessness. It just because through, as it right now, through the prism of the mind. Now, remember, through the prism of the mind, and that's why what we experience right now, there is an I involved into it. But then, like I said before, that we keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. We go to the final level of awareness. And then we see the breaking down. Some tradition, like a Theravada tradition, that they can actually experience the level of molecules. I don't, but I attend a couple retreats, 10-day retreats, where they meditate 9 hours a day. There's a technique of narrowing down an object. First you have a sensation in area like this big, but then you narrow it down into a needle size. You narrow it down from this overall sensation, you go down to a very fine point sensation, and from that fine point sensation you experience a whole different world. It's just for the sensation, but there are so many different kinds of sensation in that little pinpoint. Same thing. We don't have to go to that molecular level because of this body, this mind give you enough information for us to experience the emptiness. But the thing is that we have to put a little bit of effort into it. And effort is what? Like I said before, that we contemplate from within. All the monks do here is that recite the meditations. During the daytime activities, they do contemplate a lot. And from there, then all of a sudden, it pops out, oh, this is it. A deeper understanding. Like I said, that I used to read a book, and I keep going back, reading it about 100 times. Each time, that paragraph gave me a different understanding. It's the same paragraph. The same paragraph. It's just a deeper understanding. I thought that, oh, this is the end. But no. This is the end. But no. For so many times before that, oh, this is the really end. Because there's nothing else that you can break down anymore. There's nothing else you can reduce down to, anymore. Just a few minutes of contemplations can take you there. Otherwise, we're going to hang on just like that. Just like that, if you don't knock on the door will not open. Something like that. So contemplation is a powerful tool to go into the nature of emptiness. There are, I think that's 21 kinds of emptiness. It's empty already, but they can break it down in 21 kinds of emptiness. I don't know how deep, how far it can go. So, so it's not that simple. But it can be achieved.
So it's obvious to me that practice can bring calmness, and calmness, is obvious, can be contentment for people. I had a very calm day. It's a positive thing to say. It was good. Yeah, very calm day. It's obvious to me that equanimity, we're not being yanked left and right and happy and sad, that can produce contentment. I don't understand how no self would bring content, to be content with no self, much less compassion as well. There's a leap I don't understand.
Would you agree that compassion is a mental emotion?
Yeah.
Would you agree that equanimity is a kind of mental emotion too?
Mental and emotion to me may not be exactly the same, but it's a state. It is a state.
It's
It's a state. Yes.
Yes, mental state.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. So the mental state, whatever the mental state is, it has a nature of arising and passing away.
Mm-hmm.
So if the nature of arising and passing away, then we don't rely on that. And from there, we have a deeper understanding of emptiness right there.
So emptiness, when it's realized, is in a way a permanence. It's a consistent. It's always
It's consistent.
and that by itself brings a feeling of contentment. So it's the
Contentment is a mental state.
yeah. Yeah. But certainly you say, when there's a realization of no self, it does bring us states.
But this kind of state, because of it doesn't rely on anything at all. So it comes up naturally. We call it the highest sublime state. The highest sublime state. It's still a state, but because of it doesn't rely on anything which make it arise, and that's why it's a higher sublime mental state. And the experienced masters, they said that this is the highest one, which is the closest one to the emptiness, the total emptiness, just like that. Just like that. The air, down in the earth is very dense, but as you go up higher, air becomes more thinner until there's no air at all. Something like that.
But to me, like sublime is a state. So
Sublime state.
Yeah. To me, it's like being empty must be pleasurable for people want to do it again, right?
No, one thing will not help you. One thing is another form of eagerness, self-ego.
Right.
One thing is desire. Desire is
Sure. But if a monk achieves the state in probably rare, but in a very prolonged emptiness, what makes them want to continue that state versus watching the flash instead?
This is a good one. Not too attached, because of the nature of the mind is that it cannot stay empty it cannot stay nothing for a long time. So the nature is that appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. So as long as one understands the nature of emptiness, then one doesn't depends on it. One doesn't get attached to whatever. If it arises, it's okay. If it doesn't arise, it's okay too. From there we have a longer happiness instead of intermittent happiness.
That really helps me. So the emptiness to me causes a wake of states that are happiness states, but it itself is not happy.
No.
So when you're in
attachment,
right. So when you're not in your emptiness state, which could be frequent, you still feel waves of contentment because you've touched upon that, and then you're in self zone, but you're experiencing contentment. Yeah.
We don't live we are not out of the boundaries of emptiness at all. We are not, because the emptiness pervades everything. So it's just like that. The space. Can you walk out of the space? There's no way you can walk out of the space. There is no way. So we are always with from the space. But when we understand what space is, we are the space instead of we are the object. Yeah. So that even the contentment is just a temporary mental state, beyond the contentment.
I was enjoying this. I spent the last 13 and a half years trying to understand what meditation is and what the experience is like. And I saw the short YouTube video that said you can be mindful. Mindfulness is not the same as being calm. You can be mindful of being calm. You can be mindful of being anxious. You can be mindful of being angry. You can be mindful of being happy. So to me, using the words mindfulness, awareness, detachment, non-attachment, seeing, knowing, using all those synonymously, and also using it as Zen. Living with Zen is like having a water tank in my living room filled with piranhas, and I'm drowning in it. Living without Zen, I mean. But living with Zen, living with non-attachment, even if that water tank with piranhas is still in my living room, it can still be there, but at least I'm not swimming in it. I'm talking about my negative emotions.
Yes, yes,
They
yes.
arise and they come and they go. I used to be drowning in them, but with non-attachment, with awareness, with equanimity, I'm able to just watch them, step back and watch them come and watch them go, and not be carried away by them.
Yes,
And I'm watching them until they pass away.
yes,
And when I do that, when they do come back, they seem to come back with less venom, with less force. And over time, they seem to just fade away. I don't think I'm as angry as I was years ago. I had a lot of anger. I was mentally, psychologically abused by my dad for decades, day after day. And I had a lot of hatred.
It's, we can experience that, okay, happy is like this. Because of the nature of happiness is like this. We can experience that. And the nature of sad is like this. The nature of anxious is like this. They all have this special characteristic in each emotional state. And if we are not that, we're not that because of the emotional states. They have a nature of arising and passing away again. When they arise, oh yes, we're here. When they're not there again anymore, oh yes, that's it. That's it. So it's just a matter of detach from those. And even with happiness, even with equanimity, it's just another kind of mental state which arise, intermittently. And if we don't attach to it, then everything okay. Right there, we hitting the rock bottom.
Just one last thing. There wasn't a Thay who was here years ago. I asked him once because this really bothered me, emotions. I said, how do you deal with negative emotions? And he said, simple. You just watch them come and watch them go like waves in the ocean.
Yes.
That was like 10 years ago, and I didn't understand it, but I spent all that time contemplating it, and now I think I understand it.
Well, one thing I would suggest that we look into the nature of consciousness and the mind, because of there is a very fine line between consciousness and mindfulness. If we can break it down, we can see what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is in another mental state. And whereas consciousness is not a mental state. If we can see that, if we can break it down.
Just like concentration is so important in Zen practice, but you can spend hours a day concentrating on physics homework or math homework or playing chess. That involves a lot of concentration, but that never made me enlightened or aware.
Such a thing like concentration, intention, attention, such a thing like that, it's a mental state. It's a mental faculties because of either a monk or a thief. They all have the same kind of that quality of mental state, but different purpose. A monk used the intention, attention, the concentration for the purpose of purifying the mind. But a thief can use that for stealing stuff. See, it's totally different.
And I heard that the samurai practice Zen so they can become better at their craft. And there was a sniper who practiced Zen so he could be a better sniper.
Yes, a better sniper that kills. So,
Only kills vegetables. Though.
Yeah.
Only snipes vegetables.
Athletes do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a good breaking down. We break into the nature of the mind. Maybe we can have some more time to break down more into the nature of the mind. That would be great. I know to me it's deeply interested. I'm deeply interested in such a thing like that. Because the more you go down, the more that you see that there is no me in it at all. There is no,
I have a small victory I want to relate. It reminds me of the emotional states, and they come and they go. But I had read recently that if you practice, you're aware of yourself much more, right? And you can often just stop the state from even happening if you become aware early, right? And I was on a work situation, and somebody got very bullying in front of a group of people that were my peers. And very unreasonable. I did not, or so I think, did anything. They just kind of just lashed out. And I remember the blood flowed to my face, and then I was aware of it, and I was able to stop. And I didn't hit the emotion of the anger, and I know that's from practice. That I relive my anger over and over in my practice, and now I'm starting to see those connections.
Yes, and each experience we don't rely on that experience because of the next time same thing happens, but the result's gonna be different. Yeah.
I listened to your Dharma talk from last week on YouTube again, and I think this touches on something you said about there are different types of happiness. There's egoic happiness, and then there's the happiness that comes from just awareness, emptiness.
Yes. So, and because of the collective karma, that let's say that what he was saying to you, you get angry, and I used the same word he was saying to you. I used the same word to talk to you, but you will not be angry with me. It's just because of collective karma.
Do you still have Q&A sessions like once a month, where you just do Q&A? Is that you still
Q&A.
Question.
Okay, Q&A. We don't have it here. Only the session on Wednesday like this one. Maybe that we can shorten the time of walking meditation so we can have more Q&A, such a thing.
They used to do it like once a month. Remember, Marcus?
Yeah, we used to do it once a month where, you'd have a Dharma, previous Thay would have a Dharma talk, but then once a month, usually at the end of the month, then it would just be open to question and answer.
Oh, okay.
So that way all the questions because we got like 3 or 4 weeks of a whole bunch of, concepts and things to use. And now people go, okay, now I'm practicing it. Can I ask Thay the end of the month, questions?
Okay, we can do that. Sure. Yes. Thank you. I never knew. So we'll do that maybe at the end of the month. So we every Wednesday, last Wednesday of the month, then we can do that. Okay. All right. May you attain the selflessness, the emptiness, which is already in you because you are empty. You are selflessness already. Thank you.